started off the segment on it, but I needed to go to CB because he had to leave for the game. But obviously, Liverpool, you were saying, Henry, you think they're going to crush you on Sunday. That would be a big result for them, a damning one for you. Rest of the panel, how do you see that game going? Obviously, all of you on this panel, including me, are hoping Spurs get something from that game. Who can make the argument for that happening?
It depends on tonight. Last thing I'll add, it depends on tonight. If we win tonight, that could change things. That's the last thing I'll add.
I'll say this. I made a mistake a few weeks ago before they played Chelsea on my channel, where I actually was talking to some of my Premier League friends. And I basically said, listen, when it comes to Spurs, the biggest problem with Spurs is whenever they play the teams that they should beat, like the Ipswich, like the Bournemouths, or, basically teams where you're like, all right, man for man, you actually have a team that can actually beat these guys. I get it done, right? They either go out there, they either lose or they draw the games. Surprise! Like, if you think about the Ipswich game, it's like the biggest example, right? Ipswich they hadn't won a game before they played Tottenham, and they went on to win, right? I mean, even the game against Fulham, against Bournemouth, and all of those games, like I mentioned, right? But every time I've said this, even in games where they didn't win, whenever like Tottenham play against the teams where you're like, all right, this is where they're gonna get sacrificed. You understand what I'm saying, right? They go out there and they actually play better than they're supposed to. They can either leave there with a win or with a draw. We saw that against City, right? They were in a complete shambles. They played City. I know City are in poor form, but the fact that they went to the Etihad and scored 4, right? That should not be understated. It's not at the end of the day, that is Pep Guardiola, and that is at the Etihad, right? I'm looking at this game and I'm like, listen, at the end of the day, they do have home advantage. They're playing at home, right? Could they go out and actually get something out of this game? Absolutely. I think that this is one of those games where everyone is expecting Spurs to get to basically get destroyed, and they could leave there with even a draw at the least, right? Because it's a game where I feel like they're not going to have a lot of the ball. Everyone is expecting them to lose, so they can just come in there as the underdogs, even though they're at home, right?
If you put your hope in Spurs,
no, I'm not putting my hope in Spurs. I made that mistake before. I'm not doing it again.
But he is onto something. I will say this, Henry. You've been saying it. I've been saying it. A lot of people have been saying it. Tottenham this season have been Robin Hood. They give to the poor and they take from the rich.
I said that on my channel. I called them Robin Hood FC. Thank you.
Let me finish for the respect. The attack of Tottenham's can score against majority teams. Their attack is really good. We know that. Tottenham, although they've not been that good this season, one thing they can do is they can utilize their pace and get at people and counterattack. Liverpool have a situation where Robinson's going to be out. They already have Konate out. Their defense is going to be a little bit more vulnerable than it has been over the beginning of the season. And to start the season, they were really solid defensively. Their last couple of weeks, they conceded 2 to Southampton. They conceded to 3 to Liverpool, and even in the last couple of games, you look at the FA Cup and in the game versus Fulham, they're conceding goals. So I do think Tottenham, it would be such a Spursy thing to do to lose to Manchester United and then on Sunday go and get a result versus Liverpool. I just think it's written in the cards. But first, they need to get kicked out of the cup first today, and then
I think it'd be the other way around, Miguel. I think I've got a feeling we get the win tonight. If we are, it's like I said, it's going to be on penalties, and then we get steamrolled by Liverpool. Because you got to think, I think Robertson's back as well.
Robertson's back?
Yeah, he's back. He served his ban last night. So they rested, if you include Robertson, 9 players against Southampton. The only player that played at out there 11 was Gakpo. Well, Gakpo's not predominantly first team, was McAllister and Trent. So they're going to be fit and firing. And the best thing about when Liverpool play us is looking at it from their perspective is Chelsea would have already played. So they know the result.
Don't you think, though, you could get at Liverpool's defense?
100%. We scored the second most amount of goals in the league for a reason. Like Chelsea have got the best attacking depth, but they've only scored 1 more goal than us.
But
we've had harder games in Europe. They're playing
they can get it, but Liverpool's defense is so strong. They are going to contain Spurs for large parts of this game. That I agree with what you said right at the start of this whole preview conversation. In the 39th minute of the show, you're going to get steamrolled this weekend. You are going to get crushed. I want Spurs to win. So as Tottenham fans, please don't take this as...
you're a secret Spurs fan as well because of the old man.
Yeah. But I'm going to be realistic. This is a game. Liverpool are putting 3 or 4 goals past you. They're putting 3 or 4 goals past you. You guys are not very good at the moment. Your current run.
I've been saying that for months. I know that.
You have had a couple of results in this last 8 or 9 games that I think have been those wins have been the anomaly. The performances invariably have been shocking. If you concede first, there is a lack of confidence. You do have injury problems, which do not help you as an example. And the one thing about Liverpool this season, they had moments against Arsenal away where they had some problems. But how many teams have exposed them? How many teams have caught them? This was happening a lot in the last 2 seasons under Klopp, where you could isolate their defenders and cause them issues. It hasn't happened a lot. Now, yes, the weekend, they dropped points to Fulham, and that, for me, that was an off day for them. And every team has off days throughout the course of the season. Nottingham Forest was an off day as an example. But I just don't think this Liverpool team is going to have another off day, and not against Tottenham. Just not against Tottenham. And look, honestly, if I'm making a prediction now, I'm going to go 4-1 Liverpool. 4-1 Liverpool.
Even if Spurs 2-0 up in the 80th minute, I'd still not trust them to win it. And that says it.
I agree. By the way, if Spurs are playing anybody else at home,
that's not a bad thing to say.
It's true.
It's not bad.
It's true. And Twisted Bubba here says that's a baseless opinion. It's not a baseless opinion. I am looking at the quality of Liverpool's defense this season and how hard they've been to break down, and a number of victories that they have got, and the fact that Jota's fit again and he scores goals. Mo Salah, best player in the world right now, scores goals. Gakpo is scoring goals right now. The midfield is dynamite. Yes, and you can look at a couple of games that have dropped points and go, well, that was a bad game and that was a bad game. The overarching body of work is brilliant. With Spurs, it's the opposite. The anomalies are when they win. In recent weeks, the Villa game, the City game, whoever you beat last weekend, I forget who it was now. Who'd you beat?
Southampton.
It's like, they're the anomalies. You look at the consistency of performances in the last 2 to 3 months. Tottenham have been a shambles.
So you don't see a world, Terry, in which, just to add, they've got Konate back as well, but you don't see a world in which we get a result.
You can. I'm not saying it is impossible. I'm not saying there's no chance on God's green earth that you don't win. I'm just telling you what I think will happen. Of course, there's a chance you win. There's always a chance
it's under 5%
wins.
though, isn't it?
I would, yeah. I mean, right now,
Konate's not back. Where'd you read that?
I wouldn't. It's
the Empire of Cop said he's passed the late fitness test.
Oh
No, he's just in the training room.
What one footballer put out saying, well, this was 12 hours ago, that Konate could be in contention before his fitness test. He was only supposed to be out for 2 weeks anyway, and he's been out for 3 weeks now.
Fair.
Emery, do you not think, even if you get on top in this game against Liverpool at any point, the difficulty is that's just been consistent all season is that Ange isn't pragmatic enough to get you over the line during the game.
It's just the problem with the manager.
Yep.
If you look at the way Marco Silva played that game out, even with 10 men down, Liverpool, fair play, because they had one hell of a game. But look at the way Marco Silva played against Arsenal. Look at the way Marco Silva played against Brighton, and look at the way he played against Liverpool. It's a completely different style because he knows he's playing to his strengths and weaknesses. They took the game to Brighton and they battered them 3-1. They went with a pragmatic approach against Arsenal because they knew their team's better.
Then look at how you played versus Man City.
Sorry?
But then look at how you played versus Man City.
Yeah, but it's
that's
body of work.
Game, though.
But it's
how many games this season?
This is the thing, though. This is the thing about body of work. Big Ange, on occasions, has adapted and gone, I'm going to become really hard to break down now. But invariably, he doesn't. And I think when you're making a prediction, of course, there's the chance that they go 1-0 up and become resolute, hard to break down and see the game out. But when you look at the body of work, essentially a prediction is like putting on a bet. You're just not putting a wager on it. You are putting what you think is going to happen based on the history of a manager, the history of players, how they operate, how they do things. And the likelihood of them shutting up shop and being pragmatic at times in this game, there's a much bigger chance they're not than a chance they are. So
they were 2-0
therefore,
up against Chelsea, and he did not shut up shop, and you could have got a first win in a while.
Exactly. If he would have shut up against Chelsea, if he'd done that to Chelsea like he did against City, and kept Chelsea quiet for the rest of that first half, I think they go on to win the game. But he allowed Chelsea to create a foothold in the game, and then there was almost like nothing to lose from Chelsea from that point. Well, we're losing anyway. Let's go for it. And you saw the knees start knocking together of that side. I want to go to some of these super chats that have come through here.